It's the fallout. This is what happens when you don't bring home a win. We're going to get into it tonight. The Chiefs just didn't get enough air from that air Mahomes maneuver. It was great to see. I still love seeing it, but it just wasn't enough to get the job done. Where do they go from here? How do they get bouncing back from this game? And honestly, how do they get prepared for the next time they face the Bengals? We're going to talk about it all tonight on RGR Football. This is us. Live and happy. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Make sure you check out everything at RGR Football because all of our contributors are doing all kinds of cool stuff. In fact, you're going to see a video from Seth, a day delayed because we had a couple of technical hiccups because the man's in Florida. So you'll see Chief in the North Monday morning on Tuesday morning. So be out and look out for that. And if you missed it this evening, you can hear Dan in all of his splendor, we'll call it, on the rant that's in the members section. You got to be a member at the rookie level or above to get that one because it is definitely not safe for work.
Nope.
Because almost good as I do. I was really impressed. So well done. We're going to get into that here later. But I know it's Monday and it's a crappy Monday, right? So we're going to get all of your questions answered. If you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do it is tonight in the chat, in the super chats. Every super chat gets an answer. Every question that I can find gets an answer, especially if you start them like KL did with the question marks here at the beginning. We are going to get all of those, and I'm going to stack them up here starting out right now. The first one that came in was Tone, and let's get this. Please explain to me how it's possible that we were able to get more pressure rushing 3 than when we were rushing 4 or 5. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's because of the way the rule sets are on the offensive line. Who takes what where. I didn't see much pressure coming from a 3-man set. I didn't see many snaps of it at all. What did you see?
There were only 5 snaps of drop 8 and rush 3 from the Bengals. That's just what it was. And the difference is, I told you guys a little bit last night, what the Bengals do on defense, especially on third downs, is they bring a lot of their linebackers and corners up to the line of scrimmage. So there can be anywhere from 4 down linemen to maybe 5 or even 6 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Okay, that throws a lot of communication problems into a mix with a team that does not want to chip and does not want to keep a running back in. It can cause mistakes and problems. And on that very last play, the third down, it was a confused Orlando Brown. He did not expect anything to come inside. He was expecting a rush from the outside, and everyone, I mean, the guy rushing Hubbard, no, it wasn't Hubbard, it was Osai, I think, was it?
Yeah.
It was Osai. Joseph Osai knew that. So he takes a step outside and rushes across the face of an oversetting Orlando Brown because he's been getting beat outside all night. He sets out to his left, gets beat back inside because of communication error. That's all it comes down to. It wasn't them, just winning. They weren't just like beating them up front with the right communication. It was just the Bengals do this to every team, and they do a very good job of forcing communication problems among an offensive line to get a free rusher when they're doing some three-man rushes.
And it's really challenging at that way, especially if, like you said, and I thought you did a good job emphasizing, it's because this team doesn't want to help the offensive line.
Correct.
They want the line to do it themselves. And this is what the stubbornness, and we talk about stubbornness, it's the fallback position for both of these coordinators, being Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo. 99% of the time it's going to work. But when teams figure out how to make that stubbornness pay off, that's how they do it. And it does work. Daryl, thank you. If you guys would hit that thumbs up. And if you're not one of us yet, hit the button. Become a sub. We have all kinds of content coming for you. You want to see it, and it's going to give you a little bit more insight as to how and why things happen. We're going to answer your questions tonight, and you guys got some doozies. I was just stacking those up while Dan was talking about that last one. This is going to be entertaining. All right, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Daniel, thank you for the support. How does the team bounce back from yesterday? How do you get through the bitterness of getting your butt kicked like that?
You go to work. You have to, like, I saw a tweet this morning, the Bengals got today off. The team, the coach gave them the day off, and guess what? They're back in working. Joe Burrow watching film for the Browns. That's what you have to do. It doesn't matter win, lose. You have to show up the next day ready to win the next week. Like that's what you have to do. This is their profession. They can put last week behind. They can put Sunday behind them, move forward, and focus on next week. It's what we all do. Like I don't want to watch this film tonight. I don't want to watch it. But guess what? I have to watch it. And I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna break down some awesome stuff for you guys because regardless of whether I like it or not, what happened yesterday happened. We got to move forward. They have to move forward. They have to be a corner who gets beat on an island. You have to have the short memory. Champions have that short memory because you're not going to win every game. You got to find a way to move on, and they're going to do that this week against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, and for us, I do want to emphasize, you guys, like we put in the hours in order to shine a light on things that people don't see on the broadcast. We treat this as our profession. This is what we do to bring this to you as an audience. We love this audience. You guys are a great community here around the channel. If you're not one of us yet and you're just seeing it, this community is awesome. So hang with us. You'll get some answers, and we'll get up our idea about how this team moves forward. We're living in an era where there's a lot to be happy about. You just got to break down some of the things that aren't so easy to figure out. So that's what we do. But Daniel, I also say this. What them getting the day off meant was the Bengals sold out to beat this Chiefs team. Yeah. As much as the Chiefs talked about revenge, the Bengals were just as much up for trying to beat them again. This is it's a circle game on the calendar every year for both these teams. And you got their best game. Sometimes that happens. I really want to focus on what you have to take away next time. For me, it was the physicality. Yeah. It's the fact that you didn't practice tackling last week. It's very evident. And you ran the ball well, to the point that I felt you put yourself in position to do well. It just wasn't the physicality that I think helped actually wear down the Bengals like I would like to see. We'll talk more about that as it comes up because, I know you guys want to talk about it. Knicks fan, thank you as always, buddy. Appreciate your help. I think we're all kind of sick of it. Hopefully Orlando's sick of it. Let's cross our fingers that way because you got to get through this. There's no savior coming this season. We can talk about what could or might happen in the offseason. I don't know if it's even likely at this point, but there's no savior coming right now. You got to get Orlando functional. And honestly, I think a lot of what we're noticing here is that Joe Thuney was not there to make up for some of those gaps. That is definitely part of the scenario here.
You think I'm willing to bet if Joe Thuney's on that play, you're not going to see that inside guy get beaten maybe because maybe he's more aware of maybe seeing what's happening.
Yeah.
That veteran being there. I mean, Allegretti is still a very functional backup. I think you didn't really notice them miss a beat in the run game. He was very good. Like I think that's one thing you can really count on him being the sixth man. He's going to come in. You're going to be functional. You're not going to notice a huge weak spot on the offensive line, especially on the interior. He did a very good job of settling in. But some of the communication and the protection calls and stuff like that, I just think about how Thuney would have been maybe a little bit more eyes on, as I like to say. Maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know. That's just all kind of assumptions, but you never really know. I think Thuney makes a huge difference.
Certainly aware. I will give you that. I mean, and that it's that old classic. Knowing is half the battle. You know, when you can feel it coming, even if you're lesser of an athlete, you understand the shortcuts and where you need to be physically within space, and that makes the difference right there. Tyler, Chris Jones faces double and triple teams every week and wins. Why do you think he doesn't seem to win as much against the Bengals? Is it just Burrow getting the ball out? A lot of it is Burrow getting the ball out. But let's take a look at this as well. The two best guys on that offensive line are on the interior in Karras and Kappa. Two best guys with their hands in defeating Chris Jones' strength is his quick hand movement. It's his swim. It's his rip under. He has these things that allow him to make plays that those guys are actually really good at defending. Now, the left guard is Volson. I don't even know him very well. He held up all right, but it just wasn't enough volume of plays for Chris to really get through. And I think that's because they all understand that as Chris goes, so does this defensive front. They concentrate on it.
Yeah, they shifted some of their protections over to Chris Jones specifically too. They had zero worry about anybody else beating one-on-one matchups. They had zero worry about it. That's a problem. It just is,
and it'll continue to be until they get that sorted out. There's no way around that. I just had one I was going to throw up there, and I just lost it. So hold on a second. We got plenty to go. Oh, it's from 900. Thank you. I'm sorry, from FLDB. Thanks for triggering this. This is how you can go get the gear that helps the channel out and gives you something to talk about when you go to work. Everybody seems to really dig the Chief in the North one. That's a little compass rose thing that I did. Check that out at the store, and that always supports the channel as well. How do you think about the rookie DBs are performing? I'm only upset that Cook got 7 snaps last night. It's the only thing that bothered me. I actually, I've made it through about half of a rewatch because I got a day job and I got to do it in between some things, you guys. But I actually feel pretty good. Josh got picked on, but he was right there in the pocket. There's a reason he plays over Watson, and it's athleticism right now, you guys. It's because he's able to make those quicker cuts and stay with some of these receivers. Now, I think at times you could have put Jalen in there and rough some guys up, but in order to do that, Spags has to change his mind and actually press rather than just play man ghost press BS. A whole nother story. I did see a few snaps. Did you chart how many press snaps there were?
I didn't. No, I haven't been able to really keep an eye on that.
There were a couple.
Sorry. This is going to be a very common fixture over the next few months after my wife goes on a 4-month DDY. So she's just trying to get my attention.
Overall, William, I think the rookie DBs are doing great. They only targeted total last night.
He's
Trent Williams. I'm sorry, Trent Williams. Trent McDuffie 3 times. Got 17 yards on him. Yes, he had to push somebody out of bounds. That's fine. That's his job. Got a PBU. Joshua Williams got a PBU as well. Putting up some plays, some things that maybe rookies you can't expect them to put up every week. I feel like they're in a good spot. This was going to be a lumpy game for the corners because they're rookies. It was the safeties you were hoping were to make up for that. Didn't quite happen. I, again, would have brought in Cook a little bit earlier. That's what I would think. Dan, do you see anything different?
No, not really. I do think that Williams played better than most people want to admit. He got beat on just an incredibly good route by Jamar Chase. Like, it's so difficult to guard that in a man coverage situation. You're playing outside leverage. He comes inside, so you're like, okay, let me stick in this hip pocket. Let me turn my shoulders a little bit, run with him. And then, he's just so gifted athletically. He can stop on a dime and turn to the outside and kind of just swim through you, push through you, and get through you. Like, there's nothing. I can't fault Williams on that play. That's just an excellent route. There's nothing he can do. So I really think that he played well outside of the one play at the end of the game where he needed to stay outside.
Yeah.
He hesitates and he's like, what am I doing? What do I have to do here? And that's a growing pain problem. I don't think they had seen a mid wide receiver screen like that. Maybe not at all. I don't know if he's ever seen it. So as you grow, you're going to understand, okay, next time that's not going to happen. He's going to know what he has to be on the field, and they have it dead to rights in that situation next time. So I'm pretty confident with how they're playing.
Imagine this. If it wasn't a really, really athletic guy and you saw this from a rookie corner and maybe he makes the play, does that change the game for you? Maybe, maybe not. I think, and to KL's point, a lot of bashing of Joshua Williams is because the plays were pivotal and they changed the game. I think, honestly, he was right there, and it could have gone either way. And I think in a year from now, he wins half of those reps, to tell you the truth. That's still a very talented receiver group, so maybe not that many, but it is going to come down to that. He can get the job done. I think he's shown that, and his upside is it's there. FLDB, thank you. Did you see Mitch Schwartz's tweet about the third down play at the end of the game? I did not. Looking at the tape, McKinnon wasn't open, and that would have been a TD for Juju. Okay. I haven't gotten to that play in my rewatch, and I haven't seen much of Twitter today. So
I will disagree on the fact that it's not open. There's 6-7 yards of separation, but there is a cloud defender in the area. Like, it's in the area. It's just like I said, 6-7 yards. I've seen McKinnon make a guy miss and get a first down on that. But yes, there is. The play was drawn up for Juju Smith-Schuster to get open, and since the Bengals were playing cover 2, this was what they were looking for, basically out of their rush package. They bring everyone up to the line of scrimmage and show blitz like they had multiple times in the game. And if you hold that one guy, they get a first down, they probably get a touchdown on the play. Maybe he goes down early. I don't know. But it does look, at least from what I've seen, that Juju was open, and it was likely designed for him. Mahomes just didn't have any time because they didn't expect that.
And that's the thing, is I thought they did a good job of mixing up their coverages enough. Whereas last time, they stymied Mahomes because they were playing something specific that the receivers couldn't really exploit.
Yeah.
This time, they were keeping him on his toes, and when he got it, he wasn't quite prepared for it. They had the wrong routes on, and that becomes an issue. And that is another thing, along with not chipping and not helping the tackles. When Andy puts routes on, he doesn't leave much room for variation.
No.
He doesn't leave short routes. That 4 verts is in this offense all day long. That doesn't leave you a lot of outlets at that point. So, and kudos to FLDB for helping us out with the Discord. He is our Discord monster, as well as the other moderators here on the channel. Aaron should be back as well. So cheers to FLDB, and everybody give him a hand. Tone, let's see. Please explain to me how it's possible they were okay. This is a second go because I'm slow. Sorry, Tone. Let's see. Have you been kidding ourselves with this team? So many hallmarks of one and done in the playoffs. I don't agree with that. This is a team that so far has had Mahomes' number, right? Or Chiefs' number, right? This is a team that knows you very well and understands how to attack you. And you've had, 3-point games. That's not a one and done thing. I don't think the Tennessee Titans come in here and knock the Chiefs out. Honestly, especially after yesterday, everybody's been really, really high on the Dolphins. Dolphins can be beat too, folks. So yeah. I'm not worried about that. This is something that the Bengals have. I think it's a physicality thing and a technique thing. They just understand and have one of those matchups that has the edge over the Chiefs personnel.
Yeah, these games get a little weird. And when I say weird, the Chiefs beating themselves for the most part. I think that the Bengals are an excellent team, and they are right now. They're playing probably better than I think any team outside of maybe the Eagles in the NFL, and that's a very high praise for them. But we all watched the game. There were multiple opportunities, not just for the Chiefs, but for the Bengals to obviously drop a touchdown. That's a 4-point swing right there. There are multiple opportunities that the Chiefs should have put more points on the board. And because of mistakes, not executing in the red zone, which has usually been this season, it's been good for them. They've been a very good red zone team. But let's just kind of look at the beginnings and the ends of games. This season, I tweeted out earlier today, this season in the first quarter, the Chiefs have scored less than 7 points in 7 out of their 12 games. That's a red flag, in my opinion, for this team. As for a guy who gets so much love for his 15-play script, they are not scoring enough touchdowns on their very first drive. They're not. And then in the end, on the 3 games that they've lost, they have had a fourth quarter lead in every single one. They could easily be undefeated at this point because they've had fourth quarter leads in every game, but they have been unable to hold on. For whatever reason, defense, offensive execution problems. They got to get out of their own way. Yeah. This team is capable of beating everybody. So I don't think we're pumping air in their tires. They literally could be undefeated right now, and they got to execute a little bit better.
I think they also have to pull some of the tricks out. Like I feel like Andy's still holding back. I feel like we're going to see a seismic shift in the postseason for what this team does in some of the stuff they've been saving that they haven't been using. William, could we see Gordon get reps next game? I was just checking as Dan was talking. Didn't get a touch this last game. I'm not sure why Rojo went out there but didn't get touches. I don't know if that means that they saw stuff they don't like and maybe Gordon does get a chance, or if it's just, hey, in case of emergency. Interesting thing though, I thought it was great running attack last night. If you had to bet who got more yards after contact, Dan, was it Jarek or was it Isaiah?
I would say Jarek, just because of the way that you led the question.
I kind of set that up for you. Yeah. It's not a large margin. It's 2.57 to 2.75, but both those guys averaged more than 2.5 yards per carry after contact, and that's great. And so for having 2 guys playing that well after contact, I don't think they're going to be in a rush to really hand the ball to anyone else, to tell you the truth. Just guarding against injury for me.
Yeah.
Quentin, thanks, buddy. Hope you're back. Does the game lead to coaching shakeups this offseason? I've been kind of feeling it for a while, and I've been telling you guys that there could be a change to the defensive coordinator. I kind of feel like there could be something stirring in there. It just all depends how they rally here down the stretch, and particularly in the postseason.
Yeah, we've seen this defense kind of take shape in December for the last 3 or 4 seasons under Spags. Like that, it's kind of what it's done. If that doesn't happen this year, you might, but at the same time, they're playing so many rookies that Andy might just say, well, it's not really your fault. We have to play a bunch of rookies. I don't know. I feel like Andy's a little too lenient on some of the things that he shouldn't be, and doesn't hold Spags as accountable for some of the problems that they have because of his system.
I agree. I mean, Sutton was 3 years past due. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like if Spags is not the coordinator in 2023, it's because Spags decided not to be.
Yeah, I'm with you.
That could be it, though. Knicks fan, thank you again, buddy. Both tackles, but Wiley, I expect that from. Yeah, I mean, Wiley's overmatched. He's not as good as Orlando Brown. Orlando wants to be. All his bluster is that he should be playing much, much better than this. The Chiefs were right not to give him that contract. And, the franchise tag is expensive, but it's also very, very temporary. So that's plus. Cheryl, hope you're doing well. Is our defense too small physically to bring opposing offenses down when tackling? We get there a lot of times that we struggle to bring them down. Honestly, I don't think so. Nick's 245 pounds. There's no reason P. Ryan should be dragging him as much as he was last night. I mean, when you have safeties grabbing guys around the shoulder pads and the helmet, then yes, that's just bad technique, though.
Yeah, it's more of a technique problem, is that a lot of these guys lead with their shoulders, that they don't wrap up properly. They want to hit low and hopefully pop something out. It feels like that P. Ryan last night specifically was looking for contact. And when you're looking for it, you're going to find people in teams that are not looking for it and that can't. And they kind of know that the Chiefs don't have that physical defensive mentality. They don't go around trying to hit people. And that's been very obvious. So you get a team that's like, we can exploit this physicality. They do. And the Bengals did.
Yeah, it happens. It's a finesse team versus a power team. And as much as they try to sprinkle some things in, I don't think they're changing their stripes. You know what I mean? But that's a great observation. And thank you, Shaw, for bringing it up. I appreciate it. Gary, Chiefs Kingdom has a bunch of sucky fans. We will not win every game. That's reality. Yes, it sucks to lose. But guess you guys missed the old days of 8-8 records. Not at all. I'm very happy with where we are right now. Just want to say that. But I will say it this way, too. With success comes expectation, and with talent comes expectation. They are right exactly where I said they would be when I put my last preseason prediction on the board. If they take from this what I think they should be able to win out. They do that and they end up 13 or 14-3. They're right on track for where they need to be. Is it frustrating the 2 losses happen to be to the Bengals and the Bills? Yes. But it's not anywhere near like 5-alarm fire time. Do we need to trade down in the draft for a tackle? No.
I mean, up would be the only way you're getting a left tackle.
Right. We need to trade up for a tackle. I don't think, and I even doubt, I mean, Broderick Jones has been coming on for me, what I've been seeing live. I haven't worked any of the tackles on 22 film, folks, so I don't know yet. But I still don't know how elite the top end of this group is. So I certainly wouldn't be trading down because it's going to get thin fast, in my opinion.
Yeah, without Fashanu, man, this offensive tackle class got a little thin.
Well, and honestly, he was a shot in the dark anyway. He's 19 years old. We never saw him coming, so I never built that into the class. You know what I mean? No, he was a nice surprise.
Man, but that
Quentin, thank you for the support, buddy. Why is the coaching staff seeming allergic to sticking with what was working? It seemed like it worked once and now they can't use it again. You are preaching to the choir, buddy. What did you say about it yesterday? Just keep pounding the same thing until they stop it.
Just spam it. Just spam it. Just keep spamming it. Like that end around to Sky Moore 3 or 4 times a game. Once. Right. They ran it once. He didn't even get targeted, by the way. Not even targeted.
Yeah. And let's be real. You can do jet sweep anything, orbit motion anything 6 or 8 different ways and still accomplish the same thing. So mean, maybe I can get a pitch to Sky out of the backfield. Maybe that's what it has to come down to.
Something. Just do a jet sweep to a play action fake to pitch to Sky. Something.
Yeah.
Just something different. Like, it's so frustrating with the talent they have, even without a couple guys at wide receiver. They still have. They don't do enough of their different things and get some of their playmakers in space.
And Quinn, that's just an idiosyncrasy of playing for Andy Reid and him being the play caller or the guy that's directing the group of play callers. I did think that it was really interesting last week that we got that inside information about how much Matt Nagy wanted Patrick Mahomes there and helped him, prepare the night. Like I know that Nagy has influence, so does EB, but it's all combined into steering towards where Andy's going. It's nobody's bucking the system. Nobody gets to get plays in there that he says no to.
Matt Nagy didn't go behind Andy's back. Andy was like, if you happen to take these and hand them to the quarterback we're going to be interviewing tomorrow, I wouldn't exactly say that I saw you do it.
Right. So here's this guy, Chris's number. He happens to be an agent for this quarterback, maybe. I don't know. Kudos to Chris for getting that done, by the way. Isaiah, I don't expect Juan to be back, but thoughts on Jarrett Brown as a replacement, and where would you like to take him? I haven't watched Brown at all yet. I cannot tell you. I've been having trouble getting 22 through the season, so any safety work in particular, I haven't seen much of it all. The one guy that I got a couple pieces on was Skinner. That's kind of why I'm pumped on Skinner, to tell you the truth. But it'll all come out.
It's like, yes.
Right? It'll all come out in the wash, I promise you guys. And we will take a look at him, Isaiah. Thanks for bringing him up. Tyler, did you see that tweet? 1 and 2 tackles in the league allowed pressure are OBJ and Wiley with 37. Not great. How do you overcome? You replace your tackles. That's what it is. Orlando actually trained this season to be quicker in his feet. Haven't seen it on the field. Tennis balls. I thought he actually looked quicker when I saw a video like that. I don't know. Maybe they did some photoshopping stuff I don't know about, but it didn't work.
It's different because he's on was he on a football field with?
No, he's on clay court, I think.
Yeah, he was on court with tennis shoes. You can move faster in tennis shoes. You don't have anything preventing you from going anywhere, and you don't have pads on.
It's actually hard to run on clay. At least I found. I'm not very nimble, evidently. But Tyler, to answer your question, what it means is you got to find other talent. Whether it's in the draft or free agency, the free agent class is kind of thin, I got to tell you. There could be some surprises in the free agent class, the guys that get moved on salary-wise. But right now, in terms of who's slated, I don't see a ton there. So it could be a situation where you're trying to get Lucas back and you're trying to get a right tackle because you have to bring Orlando back because there's not a better option available to you.
I think that's what it's going to be. We might end up seeing Niang forced into some playing time earlier than I had projected. Because like I said, I thought that he'd be activated. You wouldn't see him until like the final week or two of the season. We might end up seeing him a little earlier than that because Andrew Wiley's a great backup. But he's killing it. He's killing this team's offensive line right now. He's been very, very bad.
It's just, it is what it is. You know, it's been varying shades, but it's been consistent all year. The tackles have been the problem.
Yeah.
You can't, it's hard to do that in season, but definitely in the season. So Tyler said, upgrade the tackles and the D line and a high caliber weapon. Yeah, you're going to have some rotation in the D line group this year. I do think there's a couple of guys I do really like in the draft class that should be available third round, day 3 that I think have some pop. You have to make some investments, but there's a possibility there. The high caliber weapon, I see people mocking the Chiefs, Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee in the first round. And I don't know. I think that's really pigeonholed. While I like his talent and I love his speed, I don't think he's a first round player. I don't know that the Chiefs will either. So I don't know. OBJ is still out there. Hasn't signed yet that I know of. So you never know. Take a proven quantity even for a year and see what happens. Ryan, why are the Chiefs so horrible on third down on defense? I mean, how bad were they? Let me look. I think they were 7. They allowed 7, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chiefs went 6 for 11. Bengals went 7 for 11. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's not great either. And I think honestly, I thought they did a pretty good job. I almost felt, Dan, you tell me if you think I'm crazy. It felt like they were prepared for over the top, and that's why P. Ryan was getting so many dump offs. Because they had the linebackers dropping a little bit deeper. They had everybody turning and running. Or if they were playing zone, they were playing deeper zones. and it just left it open, and they didn't adjust to that.
I believe yesterday was a calculated attempt to force the ball underneath, rally and tackle. They did not rally and tackle. And that was, I think that Spags is going to be absolutely furious this week. I don't even know how, because the defense they played was designed, at least in my opinion, to do exactly that. Force the checkdowns, force everything underneath, get rallies and get tackles. Hopefully get your hands up. I didn't see them get their hands up that much in this game. A few times here and there. I didn't see them actively trying to tip balls. You gotta try, especially if you're gonna try to force the ball out quick and in short. You know where it's going. Put your hands up.
Yeah, make contacts and get in the air. I thought Karlaftis did a pretty good job with it. I thought Dunlap I saw a couple of times. I didn't see Chris do it enough. I didn't see Dan do it at all. Willie Gabe actually made a couple of attempts that I thought were decent. It just wasn't enough. They were out of sorts, and I think the plan was probably sound, except for the fact that nobody wanted to tackle P. Ryan. Honestly, he's harder to tackle than Mixon is. Mixon's a more versatile player. He's a more explosive player. He's a more agile player. But P. Ryan's harder to tackle. Yeah. And if you didn't bring your A-game tackling, that's what happens.
All of them are. All of them. I mean, Jamar underneath is not easy to bring down. True. Dude is super strong. A lot of people don't understand how strong he is because he's a very gifted athlete. Jamar is super strong, like legit. And I mean, Hayden Hurst, when he was healthy on the field, is tough to bring down. I don't think Boyd is, but Higgins, that dude's big. Like, they have a lot of physicality. If your game plan is to get underneath, rally, and tackle, they have to meet that challenge. Your defense has to meet that challenge, come in and set the tone from the start. They did not do it once. I didn't see anybody go hit somebody in that game. I didn't see it.
Oh, Juan was trying. It just didn't connect.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, that was exactly the problem. John, Chris Jones and Karlaftis should be the only D-line players whose spots are safe next year. Unfortunately, contractually, Dan is safe. Herring will be there. You might even see the return of Kando. I have no idea.
I don't know, man.
I don't know if it's worth it. But guys that are under contract, they're not going to go anywhere. But I think Colin still has a chance to come back. He didn't play well last night. I'll give him that. But he's been pretty good this season. In the last few games, he's been on top of it. So, again, this is something that D-line, that offensive line isn't that good, but they have this D-line's number right now. They got to flip the script. They got to change it up. They got to do something different.
I think their offensive line is actually quite good right now. Earlier in the season, it was pretty bad. But I think over the course of the last month, that they're getting better. And that Tennessee game they played last week showed a lot. They were excellent last week against a team that is known for being physical and tough, and they ran the ball. They ran the football. So I think that they're getting much better.
Yeah. Knicks fan. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but DE. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Thanks, Knicks. Brandon, are you coming to KC for the draft? If so, I'd like to meet you in person. Yeah, I am right now trying to put some of that stuff together. The network is putting something together for us, so I'm not sure where it's going to be. I might be on Media Row, but I'll definitely be in town. So we'll try to set something up or say meet here or whatever. Every time I've tried to put a plan together with some kind of catered something or other, it falls apart or people, the host facilities don't come through or something like that. So I think we'll keep it simple. But yes, I'm looking forward to seeing a bunch of folks. Not my turn to go home for Christmas, so I won't be there until the draft probably. Thanks, Brandon, though. I appreciate it. Tone, should we expect once Burrow and Allen get massive extensions that their supporting cast become worse and therefore become easier to beat in the future? I wouldn't count on it.
And no offense to you, Tone, but that shouldn't be what you're looking forward to. You shouldn't be looking forward to teams falling apart because maybe their weapons get worse because they don't have enough money. This team needs to get better. And look, you also, I don't want to I want to stress this. The Chiefs need to be able to beat teams at their strength. The Bengals were healthy. They were at their peak right in last game. Maybe they peaked yesterday. I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll find out. Because I really do believe the Bengals right now are the best team in the AFC, and they're playing some of the best football in the NFL. Maybe they peaked a little too early. We'll find out in 5 weeks and into November. Into January and February. But the way the cap's exploding, the cap is projected to explode this offseason in terms of what we've seen over the last couple of seasons. They're going to get better. Teams are obviously Jamar Chase is going to get a massive extension. T. Higgins is going to get a massive extension. Joe Burrow is going to get a massive extension. They're going to find ways to structure it. That's going to be the thing we're going to see commonality in terms of what Mahomes has done and how Brent Tills has done a great job of manufacturing a ton of creativity. That's going to be the common theme, and you're going to see teams continue, especially the ones that are at the top, going to find ways to stay really good, especially with the coaching and just finding the ways to get younger players like the Chiefs have done this year, like the Bengals do, getting guys that aren't stars playing sound defense. I think that's the key to this whole thing. Spend your money on your offensive talent, but sound defense does not have to be studs. Tennessee Titans, the Bengals, both of those play really, really sound defense. It's a sound scheme, and they go out and they just get guys that fit, and it works.
And that's what will happen. The defense will probably degrade more so than the weapons for Burrow. They're going to treat Burrow like Mahomes. They're always going to restock his weapons.
Yeah.
We're going to speed it up a little bit, folks, because we're over 50 remaining still, and we're halfway through. So let's get after it. Mark, if the Chiefs beat the Bengals in the playoffs, how confident are you they can finally beat the Bengals? I'm still confident that they win the next time they meet. I'm going to be like that until I see a reason not to, because this was close.
Yep.
How about the non-contact injury for the Bengals guys? Yeah, you hate to see that anytime. I don't care who you're rooting for.
I think he's talking about the guy that fell down in the end zone.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that one. The non-contact. That's a great point. I'm really interested to see what happens Wednesday if there's a fine involved. Our D-line was terrible. Can't have zero pressure and unable to stop the run. Who are we drafting to fix these problems? There's a guy you guys should go watch. What's his first name? His last name's Ajomo from Texas. I like the way he moves. You're not gonna be much. Okay, I like the way he moves. He's more of a Saunders type.
Yeah.
He's gonna be a later pick that I think has the upside. He's really athletic. I like watching him play. I think Coburn gets all the love down there at Aggies, or no, not Aggies. Sorry, Longhorn fans. That was a mental slip. But I like what John brings. And then if they don't find an edge that they like at their first selection, I think we should all be worried.
Yeah.
Because then they are going to go reach on an offensive weapon.
Yep, that's what's going to happen.
Have you looked at snap counts? It seemed like Kelce was getting rotated a lot. Also, shout out to McKinnon because he's been a beast. He absolutely has been a beast. Let me double check the snap counts. And I know there was some rotation. Travis played 45 snaps of the 55 they played. So it wasn't a ton. It was about 80%, a little over that, but that's exactly what we're hoping for.
I didn't have a chance to look. Did you see if they played less 12 personnel in this game? Because it felt like they did.
It felt like it to me too. There was 13 a few times, but they played less 12. It felt like. I don't know. I haven't seen the formation.
I got to look at that because that boggles my mind. They're the best 13 and 12 personnel team in the NFL, and if they went away from it, I'll be.
Yeah. Luis, release Orlando Brown and MVS, sign Juju and a draft D tackle to help Chris Jones, and sign a free agent left tackle. Nah. You don't have to release Orlando. You can't do any of that now. If you don't bring Orlando back, it's only because you drafted somebody. So I'm with you there. But you won't have to release him either because it'll be another franchise tag or an extension. It's the only way he can be here. So, and MVS, I think there's an out in the contract. I think it costs him a little bit of money, but I think they'll probably exercise that. Agree with you on bringing in another weapon there. And who knows, they might still do that now. Tyler, have you seen Dan a clip on the last third down? Have you, Dan? I haven't seen it.
Oh, he won, but his body was moving upfield. His hips were faced upfield. He couldn't get to Joe Burrow, so he had to reposition himself. Everyone thinks that Dana just stood there and watched the ball come out. He couldn't physically get there. Like, he had to take a second to turn his hips to change. If he lunges at Joe Burrow while he's moving forward, guess what? Arms coming at the leg. So if that ball comes out, it's a 15-yard penalty for roughing the passer anyway. So he had to get in a position to tackle him. It wasn't anything that he could have done about it.
Guys, if you have a question or a super chat, don't worry. I got them all stacked up here. We're just running behind because we're a little long-winded today.
Oh, yeah.
Check out the store if you guys would. That helps us a lot and keeps us rolling. Is it quite clear they need the edge? They need someone who can get to the QB in a hurry. I need to know a lot of work, but I love Jared Verse. I've only seen him live, and it's only been once, so I haven't gotten any film on him yet. He's a transfer, so I don't know if it's a one-time thing because nobody has any film on him. You would think that would catch up to him in the season, but apparently it didn't.
Yeah.
Papa, I like that. He is on my watch list. He is one of the guys that I'll be doing film on as I take on the edge rushers this year again, as always, because I have to have those guys. I will also say this: if Spags does move on and Spags is not the corner next year, I agree with you. It has to be speed rushers. That means they have to go to a 3-4, and that's what Cullen does.
Yep.
So they're set. Napoleon, shouldn't Andy have one of the better done a better job with Dan's mustache?
That's rude. I can't grow facial hair very well. Okay. And I keep it at a nice little, just a little dusting. Anything more and it starts to get like overgrown. It doesn't like puff. It just starts to get like long. And that's no one likes that. Yeah. So I have to shave every now and then. Okay?
Do the biker thing, get the handles.
I mean,
I can't grow anything in here, man. There's nothing.
We got patches over here.
Oh, look out. You're going to start looking like gray like me. Uh-oh. Bill, thank you for the support, buddy. Very much appreciate it.
Bill.
Am I wrong to think that the Chiefs are more a borderline Super Bowl contender than a Super Bowl favorite at this point? Seems like losing in the trenches, O-line, D-line, and poor tackling and lack of physicality are becoming recurring issues. They are sometimes, but it's against physical teams. Got to remember, Bengals could lose to anybody. It's a situational matchup to me. If the Bengals lose to they just beat Tennessee, but by 3 points, they could lose to the Bills, the Dolphins, or anybody else. They get in a matchup that they are on the backside of whatever that weird matchup is, they could lose. And if it's not the Bengals, I feel confident about everybody else in this league, let alone the AFC field.
Yeah, I won't say that they're the favorite right now. I think that they are a team that can very well get to the Super Bowl. I think the Bengals, the Bills, those are the 3 teams in the AFC that I can see right now getting to the Super Bowl. And that's, again, there's no team in the NFL the Chiefs can't beat.
Yeah. There
isn't one, okay? And that is the truth of the matter.
I agree. I'm not scared of the Eagles either. I'll tell you that. Thank you, Mr. William Bradley. We very much appreciate you. And Philip, thank you as well. I didn't see a question, but I will go back and look here in a minute. So if you had one, drop it in again and I'll get it. Jordan, I've heard you say that if Colin takes over, the DC will go to 3-4. What are the pros of a 3-4 versus a 4-3 and the personnel currently work out? The nice thing is you're going to have overturn in the only positions that really matter in the defensive line and the linebackers. Willie Gay can play. Oh, man. You put Willie at an outside backer, he can rush some off the edge if you want. When you're playing first and second down, then you can bring in somebody else as a designated rusher, put him off ball with Nick like you normally did. The difference is you generally play smaller edge rushers that are stand-up linebackers in base downs, and you play 3 defensive linemen versus the 4. A lot of times on third down, you go to a 4-man front anyway. So it is more about speed guys, linebacker size guys, 6'3", 6'4", 240 rather than 6'6", 290, reducing down and coming off the edge with more speed. That's the big thing.
Yep. Speed.
You generally make yourself more athletic by playing a 3-4, or you have to be more athletic to play a 3-4. I'll also say this, that even though it sucks that the Bengals were better team, just be yourselves once again. Just need to get some sacks. Yep. I totally bring it. Yeah. Oscar, I'm with you. And you're going to get right here in a couple of days. I hate to tell you, there's not much resistance going to be offered by the Denver Broncos. Just saying.
That offensive line's maybe the worst in the NFL. Yeah. Maybe the worst in the NFL.
Cook should be on the field more than Reid. Am I wrong? What do you think, Dan?
So I can't say that he should be on the field more than Reid. And I think I was a little harsh on him last night. I know that I was in the moment and saying I should just bench him. Some things that are said in the moment don't ever hold up all the way through. I don't think he played badly last night, but for me, the problem was that he was kind of no-show. They didn't target him a ton. He missed 2 tackles, but other than that, I didn't see him a whole lot, and that's not what you're looking for, especially in a game where the Bengals are peppering underneath and in the middle of the field. I would have liked to see him come down and lay some hits and seeing that come out a little bit. But I don't think that Brian Cook should be playing more than him. I think, and no one's going to like this answer, I think he should be playing far more than Nick Bolton on passing downs. It should be Brian Cook and Willie Gay on passing downs. That's what I think should happen.
That's speed. That's coverage ability. I think there's a lack of confidence and willing to set the defense in the front.
I agree with that, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you make your Mike linebacker, who's a liability in coverage, your green dot. It's a problem.
I agree with you about Reid in that his weakness was his play downhill last night, something that Brian's really good at. He was only targeted once. He didn't give up the reception. Still, like it wasn't enough volume.
Yeah.
But I think he learned his lesson. He was pretty contrite. Don't talk. Just don't, especially against a team that has your number right now and has for the last year and has the talent to do it. Chase seems to push off a lot to me. Knicks fan, you're not wrong.
No. But these guys, him and T. Higgins are the best, they're up there with Hopkins in terms of they do it in ways that you're not going to always see and that are technically legal. So I know everyone. Yeah, they make it so the refs can't see it. And when you're moving a lot and you're coming back and forth, going left, going right, and you give a little push, they're not going to see that. They're not going to see it, especially when you use your inside hand. No ref in their right mind can see it around you. So while you're right, they're going to get away with it a lot because they're very good at what they do.
If you guys would like and sub to the channel right now, if you're not already subbed, go ahead and hit that because there's a lot more coming. And we're going to break down how it goes forward just like we do every week. Scotty, who's one chief the fans need to be told flat out that chief has to do more than just earn a participation trophy? Flat out. I mean, you could say Reid. You could say Wiley. I mean, Wiley's not playing as good as he's played in the past is the problem. It's not that he's terrible. It's that he's not playing up to his potential or as good as we've seen him play in the past. That's my problem with him.
Derek Nottie.
Fair enough.
Derek Nottie plays. I don't see him do anything anymore. That's a problem for this team that if you want to force them to throw the ball into small coverages and you need to be in second and long when they're running 5-6 yards on first down, you need someone who's going to be able to stand up in double teams like Derek Nottie could last year. I haven't seen him do it this year very much.
Yeah. I'm hearing you. He's definitely not playing as well.
Yeah.
Knicks fan, thanks again, buddy. I think this L makes me mad because they're talking about Burrow like he's better than Mahomes. Burrow's a very good quarterback. He's not better than Mahomes. I mean, it's not quarterback against quarterback game. Okay? I think that's what the national heads, they seem to lose sight of that a lot.
That's what it always is. Like Burrow played the easier defense. I'm not going to lie. If Mahomes played against this defense, the numbers, right, guys, it would be the numbers. Okay.
B, you're right. McDuffie has been incredibly good. I wish we could draft the trenches like the same level we draft corners. Agreed. They do need to rush up on that.
But they threw 5 guys at DB.
I know.
In the draft. They threw 5. They don't do that with the defensive line.
No, they don't. They maybe should.
We'll should. See. This draft, they absolutely should.
Britton, will Cullen be able to talk Spags Veach into drafting a speed rusher or two? I certainly hope so. I would love to say that Steve Spagnuolo at his age and wanting to stay in the league or be a head coach would be a little bit more adaptable and go away from what has been his thing, which is long, tall, slow edge rushers, and move on from that. I hope. There's enough respect for Joe Cullen around the league that maybe that could happen. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm seriously on the get Bucker out of town wagon. There's no way he's an elite category. He blows every game. Yesterday was a big one. What would the Ravens want for Tucker? Never trade for a kicker. It's not worth it. There's just no way because they're on the field for 10% of the snaps at most. So I wouldn't go down the trade route. I think that's a little overreactionary for me. There is an issue though, but I think the thing that stings the most is because Bucker usually hits 55-yarders like he's asleep because it's that easy for him. That was the weird part. But again, as we talked about last night, he's only as good as his hold.
I'm going to be real with you, Pono, and I appreciate you. I respect you. Bucker is the second best kicker in the NFL. He is an elite kicker, okay? There is no way, shape, or form that Harrison Bucker, most of the season, has been healthy. That snap last night was bad. The hold last night was bad. And he still almost made that field goal, okay? Kickers can only be as good as the hold and as the snap.
And that's a fair point. His plant foot is probably still bothering him, probably will until the offseason.
Probably a little bit. So
Yeah.
I understand that it sucks seeing a kicker miss a field goal, but that's just not it for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and seriously, like there's no reason to trade for a kicker.
No.
I don't know. Honestly, I think Tucker's gonna die a Raven anyway. I don't think he'd even go.
No, he'll never.
I'm pretty sure he has a no trade clause too. So, Frey, but thank you, Pono, and it's good to hear from
Appreciate
you.
Appreciate it.
Frey, I don't think Andy has been good this season. Can't win a playoff game with two of the worst tackles in the NFL. Andy and Beach are eating off of Pat's greatness. They certainly think that Pat can cover up a couple of holes. I won't go that far, Frey, but they thought that they could give him solid tackle play and get through because he's Pat.
Yep.
Not happening. Gary, why are the Chiefs so bad on third down? Okay, I got that one before. Sorry, Gary. Gary Petty, sorry. Just keeping a bunch of sucky fans. Okay, I got that one before too. Shoot. I don't know how I'm doubling these up, but that makes me happy because we're going through it faster. Tell me about Fred Clark's 55's performance. The box score wasn't exactly impressive for me. Missing anything? Lighter Frank got moved off the ball more than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, but everybody did.
Yeah.
That again, I really do believe the Bengals offensive line is getting really good, especially in the run game. They're taking guys to the woodshed. There was a clip of Mike Dana as a 3-tech. I don't know what they were doing in the red zone as a 3-tech, but he just gets taken into the linebackers where they are. He just gets blown up by a double team. Why is Mike Dana there? He can't hold up on a double team in the middle. He can't. That's not his job. It's not what you ask him to do. You ask him to pass rush from the middle. Like, you don't ask him to go up against double teams. So that was frustrating. But the Bengals offensive line was bringing it against the Chiefs last night. And yeah, I'm with you, Frank Clark. He's been better as a pass rusher. I still think he's a very good run defender, but he got moved more considerably last night than you'd like to see.
Yeah, and he didn't get pressure. He's usually a guy that'll go for bad passes too, but he didn't get that either. I think the whole thing was that I don't know how they got there. The whole team came in not really prepared for what they were going to get from the Bengals. Tracy, Chief of the West Coast here. I like that. Love the show and the great questions. I'm tired of Spags too. Cheers. I hope he takes Orlando with him if he goes. Okay. But who would they replace him with? And that's exactly the question, Tracy. You nailed it. You can't arbitrarily say, I'm frustrated with this. It looks bad. Let's get rid of them unless you have a viable option to replace them. Spags you do because Joe Cullen's got a ton of experience and he would represent a change, a more athletic change in a league that's becoming more and more athletic every season. But you don't for Orlando. That's the problem. So I think it's going to be a contentious offseason.
Yeah, they put themselves in a bind.
Pickle.
And last year they got away with it because Wiley played above his level, in my opinion. He played much better than he did this year. And this year you have a real problem because neither of them have played well. And again, unless Lucas Niang magically starts and can play at a level that he was playing last year, that they're in trouble at tackle.
Yeah, I mean, and let's be honest, even if Lucas does get on the field, it's probably going to take him time to build up to where he can be. So, hey. Josh, not a question, but the final throw, Josh was all over Higgins and it was just a perfect throw. It sucks. You're right, Josh, and we see it the same way. It's just, Joe Burrow is that good. It was well placed. It was well caught. The rookie did all he could do as far as I'm concerned. Tone, defense got shredded in the middle of the field. Is it that the safeties or the linebackers or more? Yes, and yes.
Yeah.
If you guys remember me ranting preseason, I told you between the hashes is where it's going to hurt. Even with the rookies, where do they make those big catches? Even on the rookies, usually they're going for the sideline or it's right down the middle. It's just tough. Oh, it's just tough. It makes me nuts. Sorry, Dan. I'm jumping all over these. Take some.
You're fine.
Please.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to hold my tongue because we talked about the linebacker problems that they've had.
Yeah.
In coverage.
Tracy, we think it'll be Joe Cullen. I know Fangio's out there and everybody loves Fangio and honestly, he could call this defense really well too. But I think they brought Joe in as an option. Jalen Hurst went on Travis' podcast and the Eagles lost that week. Same with Mahomes. It might be Javid. I'm not sure how to say that, but I think you're right. Don't go on Travis's show.
Shut it down.
I have nothing to lose.
I'm sorry. Don't shut it down. It's a great podcast. I love it. Don't do it.
I actually enjoy it a lot.
It's so good.
Just can we not have 2-hour shows? Because I barely got through that last one. So But yeah, hey, if you're a player, don't go on the show. I'll go on the show, Travis. Neil, thank you. Could this loss actually be a good thing for this team? A wake-up call and motivation to the right time? You hope so.
That's all you can hope for. Out of a loss like this, they need something. I hate every loss every season. Maybe this is a wake-up call moment. Like, I hate having to say that. They shouldn't need it. They shouldn't need it.
I mean, at some point, you got to have that killer mentality. You got to want to go out and dominate. That's what it comes down to. Neil, thank you very much. Simon, thank you.
Appreciate.
Not
Simon.
sure where DKK is, but cheers. And I love JL Skinner from Boise, man. You are right, my friend. Thank you very much. And man, I'm gonna have to pull some tape on him pretty soon. Let everybody get a glimpse before we do the big breakdown. But Simon, thank you and appreciate your support, man. Scotty, can we just get Justin Reid a publicity assistant? Oh, he already has one. They've shut him down.
Yep, he will not be making any more comments to anybody.
He's now getting the hover treatment, and I don't think you're going to see him in front of a microphone anytime soon. Does Veach take control and take a speed rusher? I don't think Veach wants a speed rusher.
I was about to say,
right?
You guys remember Breland Speaks? You guys remember that
stomped
guy?
on the table for Speaks. I think Veach is in Spags camp, is what I think. I've been sending Brett Veach stuff for, I don't know, going on 3 seasons about, hey, you need to change this up. Here's a guy. My first time I ever said anything to the Chiefs, and I did get a little response from them. It was kind. I was like, hey, this TJ Watt kid, I think he might be good. I don't know. I was hunting in the dark there, but I got one. Oscar, how many times top 100 picks do we have? And what would do if you were Andy? Draft mostly defense on the offensive side or keep a balance. What do they have? They gave away the third for Tony, right?
Yeah, so they've got 3, right?
Yeah, they've got their normal 3. No, yeah, it was their comp pick 4 polls that they traded away. So yeah, they do have their normal 3. So yeah, I think trades are going to be where they can improve the offensive tackle spot. They may not end up with 3 top 100 picks. We'll see what comes of it.
And Oscar, to answer the last part of that question, I do think it's going to be defense. I think they're going to be taking some more shots at defensive line, defensive end, and you're probably going to see some safeties picked. And then their priorities with offensive line, wide receiver will come down to availability on the board. Like I still think that defense makes the most sense for this first round. But if a guy that they like falls in 1 or 2, they're not going to not pull the trigger.
I can get down with that. Okay, so and Simon, thank you for this one. Danish Krona, huh? Okay, so hello to Copenhagen. Hope you're doing well. Are Clark, Thornhill, and Hardman coming back next year? No. Would love to see JL Skinner, Rashae Rice, and Derek Hall in the incoming draft. I haven't watched much of Hall lately, or at all this season. I mean,
Rashae Rice.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't Rice like a really big dude out of Wake Forest, if I'm not mistaken?
I think you're thinking A.T. Perry. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
I haven't watched Rice either. I recognize his name, but now Dan's going to look it up and make us not look so stupid, Simon. So I appreciate that. Derek Hall is at Auburn, and I haven't watched him yet. I've watched some Skinner. Hall is on my watch list as well.
SMU, that's what it was. I knew it was one of the 2. It's SMU.
Speed guy replaced Danny Gray in that offense, as I understand. I've seen just a smidge. Like it's hard for me to get SMU stuff. So
yeah,
we'll find out. Knicks fan, thank you. I think the CBs are okay. It's the DEs. You are correct, my friend. I think they're going to grow up, and this rookie group is going to be. This might be as good as when Brandon and Brandon were here. Tell you the truth.
I don't disagree. The corners have a real opportunity to be special, and they need to facilitate them with pressure. They have to be able to get pressure because even the best corners get cooked for 5-6 seconds. You got to be able to get the ball out quicker. Not to guys that are wide open that you can rally and tackle underneath. So they got some improvement to do here between the corners, but at least they got that right.
Yeah. Hey, there's something. Thank you, Knicks fan. Thank you, Papa. I think after a year, new defensive staff is needed after this year. Maybe that would actually draft a player like Jared Verse, OD, the guy from K-State. And Dwique. I can never pronounce his name. I'm gonna have to get that. Yeah, I mean, and that's where we're kind of going, Bob. Like they got to change up. They got to realize that yes, power is good if you want to play a 4-man front against the run, but the 4-man pass rush isn't getting home with these style of power edge rushers. Yeah. My fear is that they're going to like somebody long and tall and not necessarily explosive, and they're going to get themselves back into a rut. And then they're going to have investment in GK, who's got a great first step, and I think he's shown that in the last few weeks. But he's still not an edge bender. He's not screaming around the corner coming after that quarterback in 2.5 seconds. That said, there's no Von Miller in this draft either. So you got to pick and choose, and you got to try to get better all the way around. Joel, I think Watson is better than Williams. He has been at times.
That's been the problem for Spags is that, he was playing Watson early.
Yeah.
And then you got Williams, and they rotated in, and they've ever since they started rotating, they haven't been able to find out who's been best. But I do think that Williams has outplayed Watson lately, and that's why he's playing more. So yeah, I think that he's also got a little more upside.
Seems like it. Would you talk about OBJ? Because I'm gonna stack last call for questions, folks, and super chats. We'll get these stacked up.
All right. Thank you for the question, Bob. Can you explain technique-wise why Orlando Brown Jr. always just push rushers to the outside instead of grabbing them and trying to hold them in place? I don't see other tackles do this as much as OBJ because more tackles can get to their drop step where to their landmark before the rusher gets there. Orlando Brown can't get there before these speed rushers get there, so he doesn't have a choice. Like he can't get out of his stance fast enough to square up a speed rusher. He gets beat consistently to they call the landmark where you want to meet the edge rusher. Where your left foot gets to, since he's a left tackle, where your left foot gets to before your defensive end does. That landmark, you want to get there before he can get around the edge. How they say that wide receivers stack corners when they get side by side. Basically, Orlando Brown's getting stacked every time he's playing, and he can't do anything because he can't get arms on him. They're not coming up here. They're rushing around his side because they know that he can't do it. He's slow. He's not athletic, and it's going to be like that forever. It's not changing.
Yeah. Well, we can hope. We can hope. Someday it'll change. What's the lack of attention of getting Sky more involved? What are we using second round picks for guys that don't ever play? Seems like a waste of a good player and a high pick. And that's a legitimate question. I mean, Bolton obviously plays hundreds of snaps every game, it feels like, but certainly every season. And I think Sky, it's more about the leap that he's coming from. I think he's going to get there. And quite frankly, where he really needs to line up is in the slot. I think he has trouble getting off a press and playing out wide. And they're kind of log jammed at the slot, at the interior guys. So that might be part of it too. Is there something else, Dan?
I don't think so. I think Andy just has a bunch of experienced veterans at wide receiver that he'd rather play right now. That's just what it is.
I'm with you. Hugh Steak, am I wrong? It seems like sometimes Pat doesn't even have a hot receiver to go to and is surprised by a blitz. I think he's surprised at how well the blitz gets there sometimes. They did a very good job of confusing him where they come from, and sometimes you just can't discern that because if a team's that good at hiding it, they're not going to. But I agree. Like when they have 4 verts on or they have that, sail on one side and the deep over out on the other side, like there's just no one to go to except for the back. If you pin the back in or if you hamper his release, Pat just doesn't look that direction. He's looking to go downtown. That's when he gets in trouble. Yeah, and they actually did a really good job after the very first incompletion to Travis Kelce of daggering the Bengals when they blitzed. We have a drop from MVS, then we have 2 big completions down the field because the Bengals were blitzing. Like they saw that, they adjusted, and then the Bengals adjusted off of it. Like that's what this game is. And if you watch this game from a lens of a zero color lens, like you're not a Chiefs fan, you're not a Bengals fan, that had to have been one of the more fun, intricate back and forth matchups because Bengals brought something, the Chiefs adjusted. When the Chiefs adjusted, the Bengals adjusted. It was very, very back and forth systematically on offense for the Chiefs and defense for the Bengals. It was a lot of fun for nerds like me and Ryan to watch that. I know it wasn't fun for everyone to experience because they ended up getting the bad part of that draw. But I mean, they cooked the blitz
multiple times in that game.
Absolutely. And it wasn't fun for me at the time, but I can appreciate it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Scott, is the Justin Reid thing contagious? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to let that spread at all. Knicks fan, thanks again. I wish we would have got Olave. Yeah, I mean,
that was a dream, man.
Yeah, trading up that high, not going to happen. Spags would soft cover my grandma. Ramon, your grandma must be speedy. I'm just saying. Jackson, welcome into the memberships. Make sure you get connected on Discord as well. That is your member. We like to do that, so check it out. Bale Tofik versus Ojulari or Felix in the first round at 31, or maybe Branch. They go to 3-4. I know who Dan's taking.
Yep.
At 31, I'm not convinced Verse is there, but I'll say him for now because a couple of guys I like seem to think that he should be a first rounder.
I agree. If he's there and they still have this 4-3 defense, Verse is what I would want. Felix, in my opinion, is undersized. And I don't think that he's going to be on their board. And, I love Ojulari's speed. They're on the edge. I love his athleticism. But we all know he's off their board because he's not big enough.
Yeah. The board can change. Scheme change. BJ Ojulari is near the top of that.
Yes.
I will tell you, too, the dark horse is Leto from UCLA.
Okay.
That guy is a 3-4 outside backer that can get after it.
All right.
Y'all go watch him. Bucker needs to stay there. There's no way to get rid of him. The second best kicker in history, in NFL history. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I want to see him nail this down. And quite frankly, if there is something wrong, I want to see them correct that. If it's a surgical thing with his plant foot, they certainly can't address it until the offseason. So that may be what we're heading towards. Des, can you confirm that we can clinch with a W this week or next week at Houston? Let's see. The Chargers lost again. I haven't looked at the math, but that sounds about right. Certainly next week. But this week against the Broncos, I think that should be there. So that makes sense, Des. Marty, game sucked. Why is everyone freaking out? Bengals are good. We have tons of new players, and we're still 9-3. That's a very good way to look at it, Marty. It's third loss of the season. Not the end of the world. And they are a very good team. Again, this is the team that went to the Super Bowl last year. There's a reason for it. Mike, is this year's Justin Reid better or worse than last year's Honey Badger? Whew. In terms of like missed tackles and things, until last night, Reid was definitely better. In terms of man coverage, Badger's better. He's still better than Reid at man coverage. But overall, I would say it's a small increase, not the advertised increase we thought we were getting. Listen, I'm proud of this team and will continue to ride with this team, win or lose. Good for you.
There you go, Jordan.
And you know what? We're going to be right here for you too, buddy. So don't think we're going anywhere. Let's see. Thank you, MT. Appreciate you. If Zach T took over the head coach for KC, what would be his first move change? Yeah.
What would you change?
What would be his first? I don't know. Maybe a little more power run. Maybe a bigger back. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything Kansas City's doing that Zach Taylor would want to improve upon, because I don't know if Zach Taylor could improve upon what Kansas City's doing. But I would bet he'd play Sky more and more.
Yeah, that's a fair one. I like that. I'm grabbing the last couple questions here, folks. We are past last call, but I want to make sure we get everybody. So get them in right this second, and we're going to wrap it up here in a minute. That's funny, Jackson. I'm going to answer your question last. I like where your head's at. Scott, when do we hold Beach accountable for the lack of drafting OT over several stinking years? We don't, because they're bigger fish to fry. They're called corners. You did a pretty good job so far. Before that was rebuilding the offensive line. Now, if it goes on and you don't address edge and tackle now, in this draft in 23 and the 24 draft, you got to get a starting tackle.
Yeah, and the problem is that those tackles are at the top of the class. You're not seeing guys where the Chiefs have been picking over the last couple of years pan out, even be a tackle. They just don't work. So they tried to make something work, and they went and got Lena Brown. has not worked. So he has at least he's tried, and it's not his fault that the player that maybe the whole team, Andy Reid included, probably most importantly, decided to go after has not panned out.
Gotcha.
He did what was asked of him to go get a tackle, and he did.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it would be vastly different if they'd been able to get Williams. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Maddie. I'm going to get you. You're like a couple questions away. Definitely not going to miss it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't now be the time to play Niang and this easy schedule coming up and get him up to speed? That's the idea.
Yes.
I definitely feel like they're like, he maybe could have played last night, but that was a risk. You don't want to risk him. Re-injury could end his career, not just his season. So I think they're going to be conservative with it. Fontez, how you doing, buddy? What's up? It just hurts so much because I hate and love when our guys talk trash and don't back it up. I get it. But my question is Juju okay? I'm fresh off work and I haven't heard anything. We didn't get a report on Juju today. Andy didn't have anything to update that I saw.
No, they updated it last night, and he went back in, and he was fine.
Yeah, I don't think he obviously isn't in the protocol, or we would know that by now.
Yeah.
I agree with you, though. I think whether it was confidence or whether he got his bell rung and he just wasn't quite as aggressive, he did not look after the hit like he did before to me either. So I do think there's something physical that maybe you just got, I don't know, a stinger or something or whatever. But I think it's clear that they need him, and I think that he's going to work back. I hope that he can get back. Hey, you're all right, buddy. I figured it out. Mark, why isn't the Bengals flag for the fake injury? Most likely because the refs weren't paying attention. The clock was ticking down. They hadn't come out of the huddle. I'm guessing they were looking elsewhere, seeing alignment or whatever. I have no idea. And I haven't seen anybody flop like that for too many dudes on the field.
That was so obvious. That was literally the most obvious. They're all huddled. All of a sudden, this guy falls on the ground. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and kudos to the broadcast for like filming it because I wouldn't have noticed it otherwise, I mean, that was great. So Maddie's question is, what do you think about Texas 6 Tyree Wilson? I always want to say Tyreek. I'm sorry. Spags guy. He is absolutely a Spags guy. Right now, from probably having watched 3 live football games, he's probably at the very top of Spags' list right now because he's got what you cannot grow on trees. Yeah. I mean, he is long, tall. He's got good power. He's a lot of things George Karlaftis is. I think he's best at power. I've seen a swim. I've never seen a spin that actually like rotated even 180 degrees. He's got a swim. He's got a baby rip. He's got a good bull. He's there, but he's big. He's hard to move out of the way. And honestly, I don't think he's anywhere near a finished product either. So they probably see upside in him. Coachability will play a big factor in his evaluation, in my opinion.
Spags saw one game and wrote his name down in big, bold letters and put it at the top of their board and said, hey, guess what? We got ourselves a pick right here.
There's another Red Raider in town. That's what it is. But no, Matty, you're absolutely right. He is absolutely a Spags guy. And I hope that as the evaluation goes on and I get more film on him, I hope there's more to it because so far I'm a little concerned about his first step and his ability to get upfield, but we'll see. What's Dan's favorite Frozen song? Heard Let It Go playing earlier. Was it playing earlier?
My daughter was watching Frozen. Yeah. I actually don't really like any of the Frozen 1 soundtrack, but the Frozen 2 soundtrack absolutely slaps. It's fun. It's fantastic.
Wow.
All of it is good. All of it. Except for Olaf's crap song, whatever that is that he sings. It's awful. But everything else in that movie slaps.
Frozen 2 slaps. You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here. Frozen 2 slaps.
Good Lord, I wasn't ready for that. That was good. Great question, Tyler. Cole, who's to blame for the loss? For me, it's Travis Orlando Bucker. I mean, yeah, if we have to hand out blame, those were certainly some. But I mean, it's Spags, it's the defensive front, it's Chris, it's Frank, it's Justin. I mean.
I'm giving a lot of it to the safeties and linebackers for not rallying and tackling when that was clearly their game plan. That's what I'll say.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, both sides of the ball didn't get it done in different ways. There's plenty of blame to go around in this one, to tell you the truth.
I don't
and again,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Folks were mad at me. I'm not saying that Travis Kelce is the reason they lost. I'm saying that's a fluke. He doesn't fumble the ball. And if that doesn't happen, they win. It's not It's not a question. I'm saying that's a rare occurrence. That was kind of weird, is what I was saying. Not Travis sucks. Yeah.
No.
Trav, Jason, let's talk tomorrow. Let me know. Could we see the Chiefs draft a nickel corner and move Snead back to safety instead of drafting the safety? Britton, that's a great question, and one that I'm actually behind. What do you think, Dan?
So I actually think that's not a bad idea. If you're trying to not draft the safety, like if that's your goal is to not draft the safety, okay, you find a way to make that work because I think Snead can do that. I will say no, and that's because I do think that Snead is an excellent corner. He's an excellent corner outside for a base and nickel. But again, if you're trying to address your team with least movability problems, drafting someone to pair with Reid and Cook, and then, drafting a nickel corner that you can pair with your other young guys and get the veteran back there at safety, it does make sense to do that.
Yeah. Hey. Guys, like and sub, hit that bell. Even if you're a Raiders fan, come in here nicer a little bit, and you can be a sub too.
Yeah, right?
You leave the door open. It's okay.
It's not Raider week. I haven't trashed them yet in a little while. So, I mean, I can make an exception.
just remember, Bronco fans understand the pain. Let's see if McMinney can pull it out if you get another chance. You never know. Let's see. I already hit that one. I got Britton. Daniel, not sure if it was talked about already. Did Pacheco, low-key, have a perfect game? No, he missed at least one cutback that I think would have been really, really nice.
There was like, I think you're thinking of the same one. There was like maybe the second or third play of the game where like he just missed it. He just ran into somebody. I was like, dude, it's right there.
But hey, he doesn't have to have a perfect game.
No.
I thought he ran hard. I thought he was an upgrade over CEH, and in the end, that's what you need.
He
gave them a reason to run the ball, and that's what Andy needs. So I'm super pumped for him. Sean, should the Chiefs bench MVS and give more playing time to Tony, Watson, Sky, and or Edwards? I don't think Edwards needs any playing time.
I don't
Tony,
think
sure.
Brought up,
Tony, sure. And I'm okay with trying Watson out a little bit more, but I will say this. Watson's fast. I think MVS is still faster. And for, you got to build in a 50% drop rate is basically all it is. I don't know. But yeah, it's frustrating. I think they should even out the playing time. I won't say bench him, though. He does still need to play.
Yeah, because of last night. Even though he dropped a couple of them, he's going to make some plays down the field. He's so infuriating to watch. But, like, every one of you cheered when he caught both of those bombs last night. I could promise you that much.
Yeah.
I did, too.
Let's go ahead and do the timeout thing. Hold on a second, because we're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna keep it nice while we do that by doing this. So okay, we're good for a minute. Isaiah Foskey is a need. I like Foskey. He doesn't win enough. I got to tell you,
and I don't think that's his fault.
That's what I'm trying to determine too. He's got the potential, and when he does get a clean win, he's got the best finish percentage in all of college football, and that's one of the things that I find really, really important. But why is it? Because you think they play him inside too often and they don't allow him to turn the edge?
I think they make him play all over too much. He plays stand-up linebacker. He plays outside linebacker. He plays inside. He plays coverage far more than he needs to. They have not let him solely focus on being a pass rusher, and that is not his fault. I think that's why that's been a problem for him.
I agree. He is currently well within my top 10. I think he's in my top 7 right now, folks. And that's just from seeing live games. That's not film study yet. Alan for press. Yeah. Hey, it's like there's a theme going on here.
Yeah, right.
What's up with Danny Shelton?
There it is.
Danny's eating KC Masterpiece and waiting for his chance. That's what I'm pretty sure is going on.
Brandon Williams will be on this roster, by the way, soon.
Yeah.
I don't think Danny Shelton's playing a snap for Kansas City this ever.
And honestly, they could have used one of them last night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish I knew which Danny Shelton. I thought he came in and I thought he looked like he was going to be able to get into shape. I don't know if that ever happened.
Yeah.
Why Chase not get flagged for pushing off? He did once, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did catch a flag for one push off.
Yeah. He's pretty crafty about it. And what you learn, Terry, is as you go down the field, you understand where the side judge is. He's the guy who's usually going to call it. If you shield your body and you push off a little bit, there's a way to get away with it.
Yeah.
Savvy guys know that. And quite frankly, Chase did it a lot in college too. So I think he's just got it kind of down. But hey, it is what it is. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to wrap that up there. I do believe I got every super chat. Yes, we did. And thank you, Alan, if I didn't thank you before. Thank you, Dan, for managing both Frozen in one ear and
You know, I do what I can.
Hey. We're going to have more for you. Dan's got some film breaking down. Gary's coming as well. I've got a play I'm going to look at. So we have content for you all week, and we're going to keep it real. We're going to tell you what's good and what's bad and how we get past it, what this team can do next. So thanks for being here. Like and sub. Appreciate you. Hit that bell if you want to get the notifications. It really does help. So have a great Tuesday. We'll be back with you then, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.